Welcome in everyone to the Larsonland podcast. I'm your host, Sawyer Hill, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Dylan Bradshaw. We come on here every single Wednesday and talk about all things involving the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Young Money Kyle Larson. It's been a long 2 weeks since we did our last podcast, the NASCAR off weekend, of course, but we're back in action since we left. Kevin Mendering has taken over crew chief duties for the 5 car in absence of Cliff Daniels and his 4 race suspension for the loose wheel at Sonoma. He had his first race this past weekend at Nashville. Dylan, what were your thoughts on Kevin Mendering and the 5 car's performance there at Nashville?
Yeah, overall, pretty good finish. We picked up a fourth place finish, but didn't start off too hot. Prior to the weather delays, it definitely looked like a race where Toyotas were going to dominate. We also had some Fords really fast, but after the weather delay, once the track cooled down, it seemed like the Chevys made a strong comeback. Larson gained 13 spots from that stage two restart after the weather delay, so big bounce back from Larson after also suffering a speeding penalty. And yeah, as the race progressed, he was hanging around top five, and then he got caught a lap down unfortunately when he pit with that. I believe it was a Chris Buescher caution. So yeah, overall just a good finish. We got lucky there at the end when the guys in front pit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like you said, a lot of stuff didn't go Kyle's way in this race. The fourth place result doesn't really tell the whole story for the entire night. If you didn't watch the race, it was kind of a painful one to watch. Kyle, he did show speed certain times throughout the race, but really just seemed like he had around the top 10 car, and that was really it. I mean, showed some flashes here and there, but like you mentioned, really got caught out on that one pit cycle, the green flag pit stops, where Kevin Mendering kind of kept Kyle on the track a couple laps longer than all the other cars, and everybody else was able to make their way through the cycle, but Kyle got caught with a caution there and ended up going a lap down, which kind of set his day back a step. But after the long rain delay, it seemed like the Hendrick cars had a lot of speed, and Chase Elliott ended up picking up the win. Surprisingly to me, I mean the Toyotas just looked like they were way faster than everybody else.
Yeah, definitely a heartbreaker for the Toyotas. I'd imagine. I thought for sure they were going to pick up a win, but yeah, congrats to Elliott picking up his second win of the year. And I just kind of want to touch on nobody this year has really, shown to be super dominant. Like last year we had that historic season with Larson, but we have 12 different winners. Four drivers have multiple wins, and obviously Larson, he's thrown away some wins this year. Most recently Sonoma, but uh, yeah, just keep racking up these good finishes. I think as we go towards the end of the regular season, we're gonna kind of catch flame. It's kind of tough. You mentioned Kevin Mendering not having Cliff, but Cliff is still kind of calling the shots. So it's tough to be hopeful with not having our crew chief in the spot. But I do think that we're gonna kind of catch a flame as we edge towards the end of this regular season.
Yeah, definitely a lot of storylines to follow as we approach the end of the regular season. And I mean, really, like you said, nobody has really emerged as the guy or the favorite. I mean, I know a lot of people still say, Larson's the favorite or Chase Elliott's the favorite just because he's, leading the points. But really, I feel like it's anybody's game still. And I know Larson hasn't had the year that he had last year, but nobody else is having the year that he had last year either. So it's really a free game for everyone, and it'll be interesting to see as we progress through the summer stretch and get to the playoffs who, if anybody, emerges as we get closer to the beginning of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. So I mean, as far as Nashville goes, I mean, like I said, it was just not one of the best races of the year. I think even as far as how dominant the Toyotas were, I think it was a great performance just to salvage a fourth place result. I just want to speak on it a little bit, but we see it every single week with Bubba Wallace. He just had his pit crew issues again this week. He was right up there with all the other Toyotas in the top 10. I mean, at most points of the race, there was like five or six of the. I think there's only six Toyotas, and five of them were in the top 10. So it looks like Chevrolet's got some work to do in terms of getting caught up with the Toyotas on some of these mile and a half, mile and a third tracks like Nashville. But I'm sure that it'll turn around. And it was just one race there at Nashville.
Yeah, one thing that ruined Nashville for me, and tons of other people agree, is the start time. It's just kind of ridiculous that the networks won't return the 1 p.m. start time, in my opinion. The race was plagued with the lightning and rain delays, and the race started at 5 and it ended around midnight. So I don't understand, the logic behind the late start time. If you started earlier, you're leaving an entire day to deal with the weather circumstances, and if Nashville didn't have lights, it would, without a doubt, would have been postponed. So the network claims that these late start times provide better views, but if you're facing bad weather, nobody is going to watch until midnight when they have to, go to work or whatever the next day. And if it is postponed, it's postponed at 12 o'clock on a Monday. So it doesn't make too much sense, in my opinion. And, the really unfortunate thing is, left a problem for avid Law and Order watchers. The race started on NBC, and due to delay, it finished on USA, where they took over mid episode of Law and Order. So we're gonna have to pour one out for our Law and Order audience.
Yeah, definitely a tough one there for the Law and Order enjoyers. They definitely missed out on Sunday night, but I know we were very happy. Well, first of all, I mean, I think NBC's coverage was great. I think NBC did a much better job than Fox did. Obviously, the race didn't go their way in terms of the rain and everything, but we were definitely glad that they got the race in, because if they didn't get it in on Sunday, it was going to be pretty unlikely that Kyle Larson was going to be able to make his way out to the Lincoln Speedway on Monday night. We were there at Lincoln on Monday night for Kyle Larson's first night of PA Sprint Week. Dylan, your first sprint car race. What were your big takeaways?
Yeah, I really liked it. Start off with the facility. It was a good facility. We did talk about how, the layout of it could be better. We kind of had to walk a country mile over to the pits back and forth from the grandstands. But other than that, I thought it was a nice facility. I don't have too much to go off of since I've only been to Alltech for the late model race, and then this was my first sprint car race, so not too much to go off of there. But yeah, it was looking promising going in. Larson showed to be really fast. He was fastest in his qualifying session, and then he moved on to get second in his heat, and then he drew first on the redraw. He started on the pole, and yeah, just tough. He looked very strong, starting out, but the top kind of fell off a bit. Lap traffic caused him some problems there, and Marks took the lead with 11 to go. But yeah, just unfortunate. I was really hoping to see my first Larson win in person, and the first time actually at my first sprint car race.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it was gonna be the perfect everything for Larson there at Lincoln on Monday night. Obviously, set his fast time in his qualifying group, and made the redraw and drew first. I mean, that's rare. Usually Larson is drawing the number 8 or something, and draws number 1, starts on the pole. I really thought that we were going to see him run away with the race. It looked like he was going to earlier on in the race, but like you said, I mean, it was amazing how quick the top side went away there. Is almost as soon as Larson caught up to lap traffic, he really just couldn't go anywhere. It just seemed like he was stuck, and Brent Marks began to close the gap just running that bottom side. I mean, one thing I really always say about sprint car racing is it when a car is running the bottom like that, like Brent Marks was, they really don't look like they're that fast. I mean, it looked like Larson was flying around that place on the top side, just ripping it, and Marks was just slow and steady around the bottom, and he was finding the bite, and was inching ever so closely up to Larson, got him with less than 10 laps to go, and that was pretty much all she wrote. I mean, Larson had one more chance on a late caution to try and get Brent Marks back, but Brent Marks is just fast. I mean, he's won multiple outlaw races this year, and whenever you come to Pennsylvania, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I'm gonna still chalk that one up to you jinxing Larson by purchasing a Brent Marks shirt prior to the feature. So there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and blame you for that one. But yeah, unfortunate Larson couldn't get his one there. But the next night he was at Grandview. We were, thinking about going. We ended up didn't go, or not. We ended up not going. But some bad luck there for Kyle. He wasn't able to win his third race in a row at Grandview. He flipped in the feature. He was showing some speed, leading up to it, but just a tough break for Kyle once again.
Yeah, definitely not the night that Kyle wanted to have at Grandview. I know he said in his interview, I mean, obviously he made the redraw, finished second in his heat. Just didn't seem like he had a really fast car compared to some of the other guys. And he said in his interview during the redraw that he really didn't have the car that he felt like he had the past couple years there at Grandview. But he seemed hopeful that Paul Silva was going to get it right for the feature. And ultimately the feature just didn't go as planned. Like you said, left rear broke on lap 14, ended up finishing last, rolled the thing over in turns 3 and 4, and I mean, just not a good night. But I think that they'll definitely get the car patched up and ready to go for Port Royal and Hagerstown to close out the week. Um, congrats to Rico Abreu picking up the win there. Definitely a popular winner, I would say. But just another a rubber down track, I would say there at Grandview. I mean, both nights really haven't had the raciest racetracks. It's kind of been a little bit follow the leader. I know Larson didn't lead the whole thing there on the first night, but Rico led I think almost every single lap there last night at Grandview.
Yeah, Rico looked really quick last night. I kind of thought that Marks was gonna kind of inch his way in there and contend for the win, but Rico just pulled away. Another one who looked faster than usual was Christopher Bell. He was looking pretty fast there at the beginning of the feature. Kind of fell back, but yeah, we just move on to Port Royal. Larson is the defending winner in Sprint Speedweek at Port Royal. He has wins in 2020 and 2021, so that'll be coming up shortly. At the time of this recording, it's actually tonight. So hope for a good finish there. And then tomorrow he is also the defending winner in Speedweek at Hagerstown. So really hoping for a win there as we're going to be there in person. So hopefully that can make up for the Lincoln finish.
Yeah, for sure. I think if I was betting on this, I would say Larson could win one of these two last nights of Sprint Week before he makes the trip out to Road America out there in Wisconsin. So that's where NASCAR is going to be racing this week, and obviously Kyle Larson. If you haven't seen it, he's going to be doing double duty, running both the Xfinity race and the Cup race. Going to be in that famous number 17 car, which is a tribute to the late Ricky Hendrick in the Xfinity series for Hendrick Motorsports. That's going to be again the first of 3 races that Hendrick Motorsports runs that car in the Xfinity series. Larson's going to be back again later in the season at Watkins Glen and at Darlington, but those races will be in the Junior Motorsports number 88 car. Dylan, what do you think your expectations are for Kyle in his first Xfinity race in quite a while?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting seeing the number 17 on the track. Hopefully he gets to pull off the weekend sweep. But actually, the last time Larson raced at Road America prior to the Cup race last year was in 2013 when it was the Nationwide Series, and he picked up a seventh place finish. So, yeah, Larson's proved to be very dominant in the past in the Xfinity Series, and we always say we think that these Cup drivers should, if possible, always go out on these road courses prior to the Cup race, and all the practice helps, seeing the track and knowing where to hit your marks and so on. So, yeah, excited to see that number 17 on the track.
Definitely going to be exciting to watch Kyle 2 days in a row with NASCAR stuff. Obviously, we don't really get to see that much, but we'll see it a couple times this year. As far as the Cup side of things, Larson will be rocking that patriotic scheme that he ran back at Charlotte for the 4th of July weekend this weekend, and definitely a beautiful car. I bought the diecast. Gonna, you know, gonna be looking forward to seeing that car back out on the track, and hopefully this time he can get it in victory lane. As far as predictions go for this weekend's race, I kind of biased, but I definitely predict a Larson versus Elliott battle. I mean, it seems like every single road course that we go to, the Hendrick cars um, are just a step ahead of everyone, and Larson and Elliott are obviously the two best out of the 4 Hendrick drivers on road courses. So that's kind of where I sit and what I think's gonna go down this weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to go against Larson and Elliott on the road courses. Not the strongest finish this year at Coda, but Sonoma, Larson was the fastest by far, and behind him was Elliott. And both of them, ultimately kind of threw away the win with their own situations. But yeah, I mean, Larson is listed as the second favorite to win this week at Road America. Elliott is the defending winner of Road America. He's the favorite to win, so, not some bad guesses there.
Yeah, and as far as the TV schedule goes for Road America this weekend, practice and qualifying for Xfinity Series is going to be on Friday afternoon. Both of those will be seen on USA Network, and then on Saturday before the Xfinity race, Cup Series will have their practice and qualifying. Kind of interesting that practice will not be on any TV. You actually cannot watch practice this weekend for the Cup Series. I don't know if that's the first time that's happened in a long time, but yeah, definitely interesting there. But the Xfinity race will be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time on USA later that day on Saturday, and then on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time will be the Cup race on USA as well. Dylan, I think they should just do something about this. Put some of this stuff on Peacock and be done with it.
Yeah, we both know that you love Peacock, but yeah, it doesn't make much sense. They have the Xfinity on. It's just very odd that the Cup isn't going to be, broadcasted. When it was Fox, we had Fox, FS1, FS2. There was a lot of times it was on FS2. So if you can't get it on NBC or USA, I don't see why they wouldn't put it on Peacock. It's just kind of odd.
Yeah, NASCAR needs to do something about it. I think it's unacceptable in my opinion, especially 4th of July weekend NASCAR race at Road America. Just insane. I think that there should be definitely something on Peacock for this race for practice and qualifying, and um, it's a disservice to the fans. The fans want to watch it, and they're gonna have to be sitting there looking at the timing and scoring on their NASCAR app or on MRN radio. I mean, that's what I would recommend if you do want to tune in and listen to it. I think MRN is the station for this weekend's racing at Road America, so I think that's your best bet if you want to catch the action for practice on Friday or on Saturday. Excuse me.
Yeah, either that or make sure you have on post notifications and you know keep up to date with the Larsonland Twitter. We do post all the updates for all of Larson's races. So if you don't want to catch it on the app, just turn on post notifications. We'll post it on Twitter.
Definitely a shameless Larsonland plug there. Go check out everything we have to offer. We just did upload yesterday our on location video from Lincoln Speedway when we went on Monday night. So if you haven't already, go and check that out. And we will have another on location video coming up in a couple days from Hagerstown when we make that trip. Again, we always appreciate the support that everyone gives to us. So that's pretty much all I had for today, Dylan. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about on the pod?
Now that should pretty much sum it up. We'll be back next week as normal. We'll sum up Port Royal tonight and then the Hagerstown race tomorrow, along with his Xfinity and Cup race at Road America.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in and listening to the show. As always, check out the links in our description. We have those Kyle Larson Facebook groups. Definitely some awesome stuff in there, so go ahead and check that out. And we'll be back again next week, as Dylan said, to recap all of the racing from Road America, Kyle Larson's double duty, and the remaining nights of PA Sprint Speedweek. If you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please follow our podcast so you don't miss a thing. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and enjoy the on track action over the next week. We will see you in the next episode.